Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are discussing April horoscopes. How did the Mercury retrograde treat you in March? Have you had enough? If you've had enough of retrogrades, then guess what? I've got news for you. There are not one, but 3 planets going retrograde in April. We've got Jupiter going retrograde on the 10th of April, Pluto and Saturn. Pluto and Saturn are actually going retrograde in Capricorn. So let us begin. Aries, how are you, my lovely Aries? I've got news for you. I mean, you've probably been expecting this. Finally, you are going to get your new moon on April the 5th in your first house. This is a lovely new moon. So to recap what new moons represent in general, they are new beginnings. They offer us the possibility to manifest a new beginning, to start off on a new path, to start fresh, clean slate. Everyone all together now, clean slate. Having a new moon in your first house of personality, of body, of identity, usually equals to reinventing ourselves in some shape or form. And I'm talking about you, my lovely Aries. Now, this new moon is going to be a bit of a dream, I would say. So if you've wanted to, let's say, change people's perception of who you are, if you wanted to like change your looks, change your appearance, change your hairstyle, this is a fantastic time. So around the 5th of April, 3 days before, 3 days after, but I'd say you're better off doing it afterwards, after the 5th of April, like 1 or 2 days after. This is a fantastic time to reinvent yourself and to position yourself, to use marketing terms, differently than people have seen you, differently than how you felt with yourself in your own body. Like I said, it's a fantastic time to get a new haircut, to change your looks, to refresh your wardrobe. You Aries in general, you guys are the trendsetters and you're so quick to pick up on new trends. So spring refresh, everyone. Why is this new moon so good? It is because you are benefiting from the rays of Jupiter. So Jupiter is actually in a really nice angle to, it's in a trine to the new moon in your sign, which usually equals a possibility to expand on something, to expand your identity, to expand how you think of yourself, to expand how other people think of yourself. It is also a fantastic time to branch out. So if you've been like brooding on some sort of like new beginning in your life, this is the time to take the leap, because you're benefiting from the support of the great benefic of Jupiter. So hell, why not throw yourself in there? It is also a good time to travel around this particular date. So if you haven't planned a holiday yet, get going, get cracking, and do make it overseas if possible. Now, enough with the new moon. On the 19th of April, you've got a full moon in Libra. So this is actually the second full moon in Libra in a row. Again, this falls for you, like I've mentioned to you last month, in your 7th house of partnerships and committed relationships. It feels like the universe is trying to tell you something about your one-to-one relationship. It's time to take it to the next level. If you've been postponing some sort of like decision related to this, you cannot postpone it anymore. It feels like society is expecting you to make a move. It feels like there's a pressure for you to make a move in that direction. You have to make up your mind, whatever that is for you. I don't know, maybe you need to propose to your partner, or maybe you finally need to make up your mind whether you want to live with them. So I'm talking about big next steps, but if you don't do it, then something sudden and out of the blue might actually endanger your relationship altogether. So you have to throw yourself in, Aries. Take that leap of faith. We've got Pluto and Saturn retrograding this month on the 24th of April and the 30th of April in your 10th house of career, and they are going to be retrograde for the next few months. So you're gonna have a few months ahead of you career-wise when it would be advisable to slow down. It would be advisable to reevaluate your priorities, and it would be advisable to look at projects that you have thought were closed but might need revisiting. And it's also a fantastic time, I would say, for you to start towards the end of the month to reevaluate your professional pathway as a whole. Is there anything that you have been neglecting lately? Are you really on the path that you want to be? Pluto and Saturn going retrograde in this area of your chart definitely are going to help you out in figuring what it is that you really need to be doing. Last but not least, Venus is moving in your first house from the 20th of April. So everyone's eyes are on you. I mean, obviously, because like for 3 weeks of April, it's Aries season. Again, I cannot stress enough how charismatic you're gonna be, how liked you're going to be, how pleasant you're gonna be, and it's also a great month for flirting, I would say, especially the last 10 days. I mean, you Aries are naturally quite flirtatious, but this month, spring and the whole like new beginning thing, and the moon in your first and the new moon in your first house, and Venus moving into your first house can make you a lot flirtier than usual. So enough with Aries. My dear Taurians, how did March treat you? Let me know how Mercury retrograde went for you, because I've heard of people and Taurians losing their phones, misplacing their telecommunication devices, having like issues with their laptops. So if you've been hit by that, you're probably like giving out a big sigh of relief now that Mercury is out of retrograde. Now, April is going to be quite interesting. You've got a new moon on the 5th of April in your 12th house in Aries. It's not necessarily like you to like go within and look inside of you and reevaluate where you stand, like from a spiritual point of view, what it is that you believe in, what it is that your interior voice is telling you. Now, you're going to be quite surprised because around the 5th of April, you will feel the need to retreat from the world. You will feel the need to like stop working as hard as you usually work, because you guys, I mean, obviously like earth signs in general, you're like work, 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 work. It's a good time to take a break, catch your breath around the 5th of April and reevaluate where you stand internally. Have you been listening to your interior voice? Have you been listening to the cues of your body? For some people who have not been doing that, this full moon might actually bring quite a bit of exhaustion, I would say, but everything is actually, it's gonna feel like even the bout of exhaustion that is being thrown your way has a good purpose, because it's giving you a little bit of break to reevaluate things and focus on what's going on inside of you rather than focusing on the day-to-day, the nitty-gritty, the work that needs to be done, because you're already doing all of that, my lovely Taurians. Now, we've got Jupiter in a very beautiful aspect with this moon. Jupiter is in Sagittarius in your 8th house. It's a karmic house. The 12th house where the new moon is happening is also a karmic house. It might feel like a new karmic cycle is beginning, and you're actually going to feel quite optimistic about it, and about the good vibes that you're feeling. So yes, you're tired, but yes, you've also got a sense of satisfaction, and you're also getting a sense of, I've been doing the right thing. But again, please take a break. Please go on holiday if you can. Please relax. Don't burn yourself out. Take care of your senses, and try to understand what the meaning of all the things that you've been going through really is. Now, on the 19th of April, we've got the second full moon in Libra, because we've already had a full moon in Libra in March. This is the second one in a row. There is a message that the universe is trying to send across to you related to your 6th house, the house of day-to-day work, the house of health and wellness and well-being. Are you looking after your body? If not, you might have like a minor breakdown, body-wise, health-wise. I mean, some sort of like condition might become like acute all of a sudden, or you might have like some sort of flare-up. That is your body's cue of telling you, you're not looking after me, slow down, pay attention to your daily routines and daily habits. So it might feel like if you haven't been taking care of your health, you have to reprioritize your health and like place it at the very top of your priorities, because otherwise it's not gonna be great, I'm telling you. Because the 6th house is also the house of day-to-day work, around the 19th of April, there might be some sort of news related to your work conditions, and especially your colleagues. Tempers are gonna like flare up. People are gonna be edgy. They're gonna have like a short fuse around this time. So it's very possible that conflicts will come up at this point. There might also be some sort of like changes at the top, which are causing people to be quite impatient and quite anxious. So a new boss coming your way, or like some sort of like crisis unfolding in your current boss's life. In any case, this is a good month to take it easy health-wise, get into some really good habits health-wise, and try to stay out of the crossfire at work, because it does seem like there will be a crossfire. Now, we've also got Mars moving into Gemini. Well, actually, on the 31st of March, Mars has moved into Gemini in your 2nd house of earned income and money. What does this mean? It's a good month to focus on making money, and not necessarily on making money, but focus on how you spend it. So there will be a lot of like expenditures, there will be a lot of comings and goings. I would say you're on a bit of a rampage, and you're like, it's very likely that you're kind of like throwing money out the window right now, but there's also an influx of money coming your way. Be very careful not to get into arguments money related, because that is very, very possible throughout the month of April. Geminis. Hello, my dear Geminis. So what does April have in store for you? So on the 5th of April, we've got a new moon in your 11th house of friends and friendships and dreams and long-term plans and objectives. So what does that all mean? First of all, I have to say, it is very possible that this new moon is going to prompt you to think of or come up with a new sort of objective or long-term plan or long-term dream with your significant other, or like with a partner. So if you are married or in a committed relationship, then this like new objective like that comes up to the fore around the 5th of April has to do with also your partnerships and is involving a partner. It doesn't necessarily have to be like someone that you're in a relationship with. It can be a business partner. But this is something, this new dream of yours that is erupting around this time. I would say do put your focus and energy into it, because you are receiving the beautiful beams of support from Jupiter, which is in your 7th house of committed partnerships and relationships at this point. You're going to receive a great deal of support from this partner in your life. Or if you don't have a partner right now, if your dream, in general, I would say, we do need the help of others to like pursue our dreams. So this dream is likely going to benefit from the support of a partner. So follow through, Geminis. On the 19th of April, we've got a full moon, the second full moon, in Libra, in your 5th house of love, romance, creativity, play. It feels like a romantic relationship is coming to the fore, or like things are getting super hot in your love life. It is a fantastic time to like get flirtatious, go out and like have fun, and find an outlet to release that creative energy of yours. I mean, if you're working in some sort of like creative environment or like industry, this is a fantastic time for you to like finish off a project and culminate, bring it to like a culmination and bring it to an end. You've been working on this and it feels like all the build-up is coming up to this. Now, if you've got kids, I have to say, or if you want kids, well, this is a good time around this time to like conceive children if you want children. So circle that 19th of April in your calendar. It might also feel like if you have kids, they're going to be touchier than usual, and they're going to be more argumentative because tempers are usually flaring up around the full moon. Lastly, it is very possible that a romantic relationship is coming to a higher point or to a higher level. It feels like you've lived through a certain phase of it, and now it's time to move on to the next phase. Now, what does that phase look like for you? I've got no clue. Now, I have to say, on the 31st of March and for the entire month of April, Mars is going to be in your sign, in Gemini. So this month, people are going to feel like you are a lot more combative, a lot more assertive, a lot more competitive, and this can obviously relate to you following through and actually like getting stuff done and chasing what it is that you want to like achieve this month. It can also get you in a little bit of hot water because you're too impatient with people, and conflicts might erupt, and like you are literally running out of patience altogether this month. So catch your breath. You're usually not very fiery, I would say, my dear Gemini. You're very convivial, you're very friendly, you've got a lot of time for people, you've got a lot of time for like small talk, for conversations, for giving people the time of day. This month, you won't have time to give them the time of day. So use that new lease of life and energy that you're getting to get things done. But also, don't get into fights, okay? I warned you. My dear Cancerians, hello. For those of you who are here on my channel for the very first time, I am a Cancer rising myself. So this also applies to me, what I'm going to tell you now. On the 5th of April, my dear Cancerian brothers and sisters, we've got a new moon in our 10th house of career and professional achievement and professional success and bosses and public life. Finally, our hard work is being acknowledged, and we are getting a promotion, or we are getting a new job, or there is like definitely a new beginning on the horizon. There is a new lease of life in our professional life. Wow, I need to learn more words, people. it feels like the universe is propelling us forward. And this is literally, this month and this new moon is the beginning of a new stage in our career for at least the next year, I would say. Now, the really, really, really good stuff and the exciting part is the fact that we are receiving support from Jupiter, which is the great benefic, the giver of gifts and luck and protection. It feels like we have the protection of the gods. It feels like we have the protection of those in high places. Not only are we getting a new job or like a promotion, we're actually going to enjoy it, and we are going to feel protected, even though, let's say, people around us might be having not so great a time. I would say we are protected from anything that happens around us, and our career is going to take on a new path that is going to surprise both us and everyone else, and it's going to feel really, really good because it's well deserved, and it was long in the making, I would say. Now, on the 19th of April, we've got the second full moon in a row in Libra in the 4th house. There are things happening in your family, my dear Cancerians. Have you moved house last month? If not, this is when you move house. Have you started a renovation project last month, like house related? If not, then this is the month to start it. Or like this is the time when things finally break down for good and you realize you have to put that money into your house to like renovate it. There's also some sort of like culmination related to your very close family. You might receive like news related to your family. You might hear of like a family member like having some sort of like life challenges and life issues and needing you to like step in and help. It is some sort of like recurring theme, and you already got a taste of it last month at the other Libra full moon, so this is not news. It is a reoccurrence. All in all, I'd say you have to look at the bigger picture and understand what it is that the universe is trying to tell you with all of these things breaking down or like coming together in your house of home and family. Now, for the entire month, you've got Mars in Gemini in your 12th house of retreat, of isolation, of spirituality, of past lives, of dreams. You might have like very vivid dreams this month, and you might like be prone to like fighting in your dreams, my dear Cancer, or like speaking up. Like whoever it is that you're sleeping next to might have like a really fun time like listening to you and like watching you whilst you sleep, because it will feel like your subconscious is going to be hyperactive. Now, you might not get a good night's sleep throughout April, Cancer, but I have another piece of advice to give to you. Be careful and try to like write down what it is that you remember from your dreams, and try to understand what it is that your dreams are trying to like, the message that they're trying to send to you and what your subconscious is trying to tell you, because there seems to be like some sort of internal fight going on inside of you. And as soon as you can crack the message, the sooner you are on your path to like getting rid of that internal conflict, because no one wants internal conflicts, right? Now, last but not least, another piece of good news. Venus is entering Aries from the 20th of April. So for the rest of April, for like the next 10 days onwards, you're going to be very well thought of. And bosses are going to appreciate you more, and you might be a little bit more in the limelight than you usually are, but everyone's going to be very appreciative of you. So your public life is going to go like, and people are really going to like you. People are really going to enjoy watching you and listening to you, and bosses are going to be prone to acting in your favor. So this is the time to have those like difficult discussions or like challenging conversations, or like things that you've like probably been postponing and didn't want to mention to your boss for fear of not upsetting them. From the 20th of April onwards, I would say it's a good time to have those conversations, because you are being protected by Venus. My lovely Leos, I've got news for you. You've got a new moon in your ninth house of long distance travel and higher education and exploration and religion and philosophy on the 5th of April. It is a fantastic time to go on holiday. I'm gonna put it out there. Go on holiday, but go overseas. What you discover is likely going to change you. It's going to change you on a visceral level. It's going to broaden your perception of the world. Things are going to click. You're going to start like understanding things that you probably had a hard time understanding, and your life philosophy will be impacted by that. And if you ask me, understanding why things happen to us in our lives is probably the most important thing ever, because if you can understand it, you can work with it. If you don't understand it, then you're frustrated by it and you analyze it and you obsess over it. So find a way, my dear Leo, to run away from it all abroad, explore things, immerse yourself in a different culture, and you're going to discover yourself, and something's going to click. You're going to find that missing piece of the puzzle that you were looking for. Now, if you want to go back to school, this is a fantastic time to like pick up new classes and new courses, because you are actually receiving the beams, the benefic beams of Jupiter, which is the planet of higher education. So this is a wonderful time to start off on a new course that is education related. Now, on the 19th of April, you've got a full moon again in Libra in your third house of communication. If you've been having like any sort of like challenges with your siblings, those might take center stage once again around the 19th of April. So it's not news. It is something that you've dealt with before. A sibling might need your help. A sibling might need your financial input, maybe, to save them out of a bit of a tricky situation. Now, last but not least, the third house is also the house of communication and skills and the logical mind. Have you been learning something in the past year? If so, then it is finally time to start applying it, like on a practical, pragmatic level. That is what the full moon in the third house is trying to tell you. Now, last but not least, I am looking at your chart right now. This is a wonderful month to surround yourself with friends. It is a wonderful month to go out and ramp up that social life of yours. I mean, Leos are usually quite social creatures, but this month more than anything is likely going to be a month when you're going to enjoy and you're going to actively seek the company of friends. To add to that theme of traveling and higher education, Venus is moving into Gemini. Wait for it. Venus is moving into Gemini, and Gemini is your 11th house. Now, I would say that this is the time to start building on those relationships with your friends. I mean, your friends are always your friends, and your friends are always going to be there, but this is a time for you to like actually think of the things that you could do for them, and actually think of the things that would strengthen your bond. If you do that, you're going to be surprised at how much like love and how much affection and how much good energy they are going to send your way. So do give them the time of day. Do think of the things that you could do to help them, and reap the rewards in return, I'd say. My dear Virgos, what does April have in store for you? So, first of all, we've got a new moon happening on the 5th of April in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is by no means an easy house. It is a house of crisis. It is a house of shared resources. Shared resources usually bring with them a little bit of a crisis in themselves. It is also the house of sex. It is the house of death and rebirth. It is a karmic house. It is the house where we go deep down inside of us and we have to face our animal instincts and face our most basic, I would say, natures. So our deepest and darkest recesses of ourselves. Now, having a new moon there, however, is a time of new beginnings. It is a time when, around the 5th of April, I would say, you might finally get some sort of like money that you were asking for from other people in the form of an investment, in the form of insurance, in the form of an inheritance, in the form of money that was owed to you through either like a trial, or it is simply a house where, and the time around which you might get gifts bestowed upon you from other people. You might hear news of something that is coming your way materially that is going to change your outlook for the rest of the year, I would say. The reason why I'm saying this is going to change the outlook for the rest of the year also has to do with the fact that Jupiter is throwing beautiful beams. Jupiter is in trine with the new moon. So whatever it is that you're getting, gift-wise, money-wise, it might be a lot of it. Now, it is also a time to reevaluate your approach towards your sex life. And it can feel like a rebirth, a revival. You're finally coming to terms with what you really want in that particular area of your house. Now, on the 19th of April, we have the second full moon in Libra in your house of income, after you've had another full moon in Libra in March. So, money, 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 money. Everything is revolving around money. It feels like this month has to do with money coming your way, new sources of income. What are you going to do with the money that comes your way at the new moon? What is the decision that you'll take regarding that and regarding the money that you make through your own work? Now, around the second full moon in Libra, so around the 19th of April this month, it might feel like you have a big expense that you need to cover. However, you will benefit from whatever came your way around the new moon on the 5th of April. Now, whatever is happening money-wise and whatever event is trying to seep into your pockets and make you pay for it is going to be quite unexpected around the 19th of April. But fret not, you do have the resources to cover for it. Now, Mars is going to be in Gemini for the entire month of April in your 10th house of career and professional life and higher authorities and public life and bosses. This is a month in which you might be very vocal regarding your input at work, regarding your career. This is a fantastic time. This is actually a really good month if you're looking for work. It is a good time for you to schedule interviews. It is a good time for you to branch out. It is also a good time for you to take on new responsibilities, I would say. And last but not least, Venus from the 20th of April is moving into your 8th house. Now, the last 10 days of April, I would say, are going to be very good for you to focus on the deeper connections that you have with a significant other or with the people in your life. And that connection might move on to a more spiritual level, but it can also move on to simply a deeper, more meaningful and more rewarding personal connection. You might feel at ease and you might feel satisfied with the way you give and take in a particular relationship, how much time you put into it, how much effort you put into it, how much you're giving yourself away to a significant other. But all in all, there's money written all over April for you. So I feel like the big action and the big discussions are going to happen in your money sectors in April, my dear Virgos. Libras. So, my dear Libras, you've got a new moon on the 5th of April happening in your 7th house of committed partnerships and relationships. Is this the month when you move in with your partner? Is this the month when they are going to propose to you? Is this the month when you get married? Whatever you decide to do regarding your significant other and regarding your committed relationship, it's gonna feel wonderful, and you're gonna feel like so protected, and you're gonna feel the corn of abundance. The reason why I'm saying that is because Jupiter is involved at this new moon, and Jupiter is associated with cornucopia, with the horn of abundance. So you might take a leap of faith and you might make a decision regarding a significant other around this time, and it's actually going to be the best decision that you could possibly make. Also, you might meet a new person around this time. If you're not in a committed relationship, you might, as of the 5th of April, or like a few days before, a few days after, settle down for a partner and like put your heart into a committed relationship, and also be willing to acknowledge it to the world, the fact that you are with this person, you are enjoying your time with this person, and you just want to be with them. Do expect like a potential partner coming up into your life around this time, just saying. On the 19th of April, though, we have another full moon happening in your 1st house. This is the 2nd full moon that is happening in Libra in 2019. What are you doing bodily-wise, and what are you doing identity-wise that is not true to yourself, that you're only doing for the sake of others? This is the time to reevaluate who you are, to reevaluate what you bring out into the world, to reevaluate how you present yourself to the world. It can indicate some sort of like identity crisis, I would say. It feels like whoever you've considered yourself to be is no longer who you really are, and whoever the world expected you to be and however the world expected you to act is no longer in tune with what you are really feeling. What can you do? Well, I've got a piece of advice. Follow that inner voice that says, I need to be free to be whoever on earth I'm supposed to be. If you're not doing that, then your body is likely going to turn against yourself, and you might feel like sick, you might have insomnia. The reaction of your body, it can be quite visceral if you're not staying true to yourself, and if you're not chasing that freedom of being you. We also have, for the entire month of April, Mars in the 9th house. This is a month in which you might be like actively searching for the higher meaning, and for the higher meaning of everything that is going on into your life. You might actively be seeking out like information. You might actively be seeking out like a teacher, a mentor, and you're very likely going to find them. And last but not least, we've also got the Venus entering from the 20th of April into your 7th house. So the last 10 days of April are going to be very romantic, and you might be like, you're probably going to be like super happy to hear that, because Libra at its core is a relationship oriented sign, and relationships are going to go better than they've been going in the past year, I'd say. Let's not forget that you've had, for the past 7 years, you had Uranus in your 7th house of committed partnerships and relationships, so your relationships might have been quite rocky. There was a lot of instability in your committed partnership. There was a lot of things coming out of the blue, a lot of like unexpected surprises and potentially obstacles. All that is coming to an end, because Uranus is currently in Taurus, and it's going to spend the next 7 years there. So things are going to settle down in that area of your life, and it's finally time to like start fresh. That's Libra for April, guys. Now, Scorpio, what are you up to in April? Oh my days. So First of all, we've got a new moon on the 5th of April in your 6th house of day-to-day work, your 6th house of health and well-being. Around the 5th of April is the best time that you could possibly choose this year to start off like a new wellness regime, to start off a new healthy habit, I would say, or like to kick to the side like an unhealthy habit that you had. This is also a fantastic time for you to start a new job. Let me just put it out there. If you've been looking for a job, if you've been looking for like a new beginning, work related, it is finally coming your way. So I'd say if you do want to apply for jobs, if you are actively seeking, if you can like schedule an interview around the 5th of April, I'd say 5th, 6th, and 7th are going to be like really, really marvelous days. If you have been interviewing for a job, then you might hear like a really good piece of news around this time. Now, on the 19th of April, we've got a full moon in your 12th house. This is your second full moon in the 12th house. You've also had another full moon last month in the same area of your chart. There's some sort of like crisis happening inside of you that you don't want people to see, or that you're like trying to like sweep under the rug, but it keeps on like popping up. You might be having some sort of like spiritual crisis. You no longer believe in the things that you believed in. You might feel like someone's out to get you, and there's all these like hidden enemies that are waiting for you like from behind like closed doors and that are out there to get you. It ain't easy being you these days, I have to say. My advice is to take things into your own stride and don't become paranoid about it. And yes, there are things that were hidden from you. Yes, there are potentially like hidden enemies that are plotting against you. But as long as you stick to your truth, stick to who you really are, stick to what you know, to what you're doing, you're going to be fine. You are absolutely going to be fine. You might feel lost inside. You might feel like there's no meaning to all of this, and you might feel like there's a higher force sabotaging your efforts. Hang on in there. Please do hang on in there. Don't despair. Not now, because things are finally coming together for you. Last but not least, we've got Venus moving into your 6th house of day-to-day work from the 20th of April, so you might feel like super productive after that, and you might actually enjoy whatever work it is that you're doing. So coupled up with like the new beginning work-wise, new beginning health-wise, new habits that you need to establish, a new possibly like daily ritual that you need to establish. This month, it's about routine for you, and it's about the things that you do on a daily basis that can be like more fulfilling, that can be more wholesome. You might start like a new regime, like diet-wise. You're gonna feel good about that, and people might actually compliment you on that, and you might feel a lot more appreciated by doing these things. Now that is Scorpio. Let us move on to Sagittarius. My lovely Sagittarians. I mean, you're on a rampage. So you've got Jupiter in your own sign till the end of the year, till December. So whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you decide to like undertake this year, you are like super protected. So this is a time for you to like take chances and take risks and expand. But but let's go back to April, because you don't want to hear me talking about 2019 for you. In April, you've got a new moon in your 5th house of true love. Well, it's funny, because the new moon is happening in your 5th house, and the new moon is actually happening on the 5th of April. So, your romantic relationship is going to be revived and renewed. You're going to feel more flirtatious than ever. You might actually have a crush around the 5th of April, just saying. If you're doing like anything creative-wise, if you are embarking on any sort of like creative endeavor, do choose the 5th of April as the time to like start that new creative project, because you're going to be super inspired and it will feel like you're getting inspiration from like a higher force. If you're trying to have kids, the 5th of April and the 6th and the 7th are probably like really good days to like try that out. And last but not least, the days around the 5th of April are really romantic days, which I advise you to spend with a romantic interest, a romantic partner, flirt, have fun, go out, enjoy yourself. The 5th of April and the days around it are days for pleasure. So focus on doing things that bring you joy and bring you pleasure in your life. Now, on the 19th of April, you've got another full moon again in your 11th house. In Libra. So you had this one in March as well. You had another full moon in Libra in March. There seems to be a lot of activity related to your social life and your friends and who your real friends are and what your expectations of your friends are. You might be hearing some sort of like news from your friends. There might be someone suddenly disappearing out of your friend circle. The reason why I'm saying that is because we've got Uranus involved, or you might hear like some sort of like unexpected news that is not very pleasant related to your friends. You might feel a little bit betrayed. But also, the 19th of April is a good time for you to like refocus your efforts on a dream that you've had and on a dream that you've been pursuing for quite a while. It might have slipped to the side for a while, but it's time for you to get back on track with it. Last but not least, you've got Mars transiting your 7th house of committed partnerships and relationships for the entire month of April. Whilst this is a fantastic transit for your sex life, it is also a transit that can indicate fights with your partner. So be careful not to be like overly argumentative and overly like hung up on things, because fights might erupt out of nowhere. And that is Sagittarius. Now, Capricorn, my dear Capricorns, how are you holding up? I mean, I've got good news for you, so you're probably going to enjoy this. But March has not been the easiest month for you, if I may say so. So, on the 5th of April, we've got a new moon happening in your 4th house. Your house of home, your house of family, your house of roots and your past and your childhood. This is a good month for you, my dear Capricorns, to focus on balancing out your work and your private life and your family life. It does, as a Capricorn, you are already like expending a hell of a lot of energy on your public life and your career and your professional success. This is a month when you actually need to focus on your home and your family because they need you. This is a good time for you to move houses. If you've been looking at that, it is a good time to buy a new house. Your attention will be drawn to family related matters for most of the month. Now, the new beginning that you've been waiting for, or maybe not even waiting for, there will be a change in your family situation, which is probably going to be something that is going to blow your mind because you weren't expecting it, and you usually don't expect the best and most positive outcomes. But we've got Jupiter involved at the beginning of the month, so whatever is happening, whatever change is happening in your family life, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to love it, and it's going to make you a lot more positive and feel a lot better about your home and living situation. Now, we've got a full moon, however, on the 19th of April in your 10th house, again in Libra, in your 10th house. So something is ending at work, something is ending in your professional life. I would also say whatever project you've been working on or whatever you were embarked upon for the past year is finally coming to an end. It's a time of closure. It's a time to evaluate whatever's been going on in the past year in your professional life. And you might decide, you know what, that you've been giving it a lot of attention as usual. And this month it's time for you to like reevaluate your priorities a little bit. Like I said, my advice is to focus more on your home and your family more than anything else, because you're already very much focused on your career. Now, we've got Mars transiting your 6th house of day-to-day work in Gemini for the entire month of April. Be very careful not to step on anyone's toes. If you're the boss at work, be very careful how you give orders and how you manage people, because it can turn against you, and people can be a lot more open to starting conflicts than usual. And last but not least, we've got Venus moving into your 4th house of home and family from the 20th of April. And it's going to stay there till the end of the month. You're going to be very like nurtured, I would say, because I was looking for the right word. You're going to feel very nurtured and very content with the way things turned out in your home and in your family. It is a good time for you to like redecorate, if that's what you're looking for. You are going to have like exquisite tastes, not that you generally don't, but like you're gonna be more inspired by Venus transiting this house of yours, and this is a fantastic time to like invest in like buying a beautiful piece of furniture, or like buying something like beautiful and aesthetically pleasing for your house. Make it not just functional, make it beautiful. My Aquarius brothers and sisters. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I am an Aquarius sun myself. So this obviously applies to me, what I'm going to share with you for the month of April. Now, on the 5th of April, my lovely Aquarians, we've got a new moon happening in our 3rd house of communication, of learning, of short distance travel, of siblings. Now, around the 5th of April, we might actually realize that we need to learn a new skill, to pick up a new skill. We might take a short course. We might actually understand what is the missing piece that we need in order to help with the logical decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis. So this is definitely a fantastic month for learning. So I'd say the key word for Aquarians in April is learning, and also networking. So around the 5th of April, if you are going to any sort of like event, I would say mingle and try to set up those networking tentacles into action. Aquarians are usually like quite the observers, and whilst they are very social creatures, they don't necessarily actively reach out to people. Well, this month I dare you, my Aquarian fellows, to actively reach out to people and actively form those contacts, because you might be surprised to figure out that it is one of these new contacts that is going to have an impact upon your beliefs and upon your life philosophy and upon your general sense of wisdom. You're going to be surprised by how smart people who you find out there can be. I mean, that sounds so patronizing, but Aquarians tend to have like this tendency to like keep their distance from the world. Well, this is definitely not the month to keep your distance from the world. This is the month for you to mingle and to go out there, socialize, and make friends, and try to like listen in onto what other people are doing and how they are like, I don't know, like living their lives and planning for the future, because you are going to be really inspired by it, I'm telling you. This is also a month filled with travel, short distance travel, but also long distance travel. Short distance around the 5th of April, long distance around the 19th of April, when you've got a full moon in your 9th house of long distance travel. Now, if you're not traveling around that month, this is also a time of completion when it comes to an educational journey that you've been embarked upon. So you might finally like finish up a course, you might receive your like diploma. So all in all, the focus is on learning and education and broadening your horizons this month, my lovely Aquarius. Last but not least, we've got Mars in Gemini for the entire month in April. Now, Gemini rules your 5th house of fun and pleasures and romance. So this is a very flirtatious month. It is also a month in which you're going to expend a lot of energy on having fun and going out and doing things for the sake of getting pleasure out of them, which is great. I mean, if you ask me, that's great. I mean, I'm actively planning to have fun in April, just saying, you should be doing the same thing. Last but not least, Venus is entering your 3rd house from the 20th of April. So again, you might bond with a sibling, you might strengthen that bond, that connection that you have with a sibling, or it is very possible that if you are at a networking event, things can get like quite romantic quite fast, especially if you are single. You might encounter a romantic interest at a networking event, or like whilst you're involved in some sort of like activity and social event that doesn't necessarily relate to romance at all. It can very well be related to work, but you can very well find some sort of like romantic interest out there. So all in all, a very pleasant month for us, my fellow Aquarians. Now, last but not least, Pisces. Pisces, what is going on with you in April? So, we've got a new moon on the 5th of April in your 2nd house of earned income. So, this is the time when a new source of income will come your way in your life. Usually, for a new source of income to come your way, or for a new anything to come your way, in order to like get a new beginning in an area of our life, we need an ending first and foremost. So you might have gotten that ending last month. This is the time when you're getting your new beginning related to your finances. It can very well have to do with, I'd say, finding a new job, or finding literally like freelancing, a new source of income. It's up to you how you manage that. It's going to be way more money than you imagined though, because you are getting beneficial beams from Jupiter, which expands things. So all in all, open up those pockets and let that money come in, my dear Pisces, in April. On the 19th of April, there is a full moon, the 2nd, in your 8th house though. The 8th house is the money that belongs to other people, or that we share with other people. It is a house of inheritances. It is a house of common resources. It is also a house of crisis. So whatever crisis you've been going on last month, it's not over yet, and it's going to reappear into your life with like its last dying breath. It's going to require your attention to like seal the deal. So do you owe anyone money? Does anyone owe money to you? Do you have like some sort of like expense that you've been postponing? It's possible at times like this that money will be taken away from you, maybe for like karmic reasons. Maybe you are indebted to someone karmically, so you don't necessarily have to be in debt to them because of something that you did in this lifetime. Do not despair, because you are getting your influx of money back. Last but not least, any sort of like crisis relationship-wise that you've been going through last month is again going to require, to necessitate your attention this month. And it might be something that you thought was like done and dusted and closed and you were ready to move on. Not so fast. Treat it properly and give it the attention that it deserves, because otherwise it's going to creep up its ugly head out of nowhere over and over and over again. Last but not least, we've got Mars in Gemini transiting your 4th house for most of the month. A lot of comings and goings at home. I mean, it can be like you moving around, you like fixing something, troubleshooting at home. Be careful not to like get into fights and arguments with your close family. And last but not least, Venus is moving into your second house from the 20th of April. So this month is focused on you and your income and your worth, and your sense of self-worth is also going to be renewed in April, Pisces, which is a fantastic thing if you ask me, because you are usually worth much more than you think you are. So, my lovelies, let me know if you've got any questions regarding your April horoscopes, and do not forget to also listen to both your sun sign and your rising sign, because they are both equally important. I mean, I'd say sometimes the rising sign is more important than your sun sign's horoscope, so do listen to both. And if you are interested in a personalized horoscope that is unique to you based on your natal chart, a personal horoscope for the rest of the year, get in touch with me, because that is one of the services that I offer. So I'm going to leave a description in the description box down below, a link to where you can order your personalized horoscope. Have fun in April, guys, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye.